Hello and welcome back to a unboxing and first impressions of my latest watch. Now, I broke my promise to myself. I was only going to buy maybe one or two watches this year. That was sort of the plan, and one of them was the Cartier Santos, which I got earlier in the year, and it was supposed to be towards the end of the year I maybe get another watch, but that changed when this watch was announced and released because I couldn't help myself. And that watch is, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, the Fears Brunswick Brown. Now, I want to preface this video with a few things. As always with our unboxing and first impressions, I don't do the live unboxing for the most part in the actual video. Now, for this one, I did do the very first initial unboxing on our Instagram, and I've kept it in the highlight reel, so you can watch that there if you want to see the initial first reaction. The reason for these videos I don't do it like that is because I want to actually know a little bit more about the watch, so I'm not just saying, this watch looks great. You know, I can actually go in a bit more detail without it being a full in-depth review, which will come at a later date, I promise you. Now, I've said that for a lot of watches, but for this one, it will definitely happen. Now, the next point, we here at kibblewatches.co.uk are a authorized stockist of Fears watches. We sell them brand new as an AD here in London. We are their London distributor, if you will. So you can come and view Fears watches here in person at the office, but it's a by appointment only, so do send us an email ahead of time. Now, I do want to state straight off the bat, I have paid full retail for this watch, just like the other four lucky people who got this watch. Fears does not offer a discount to anyone. Even Nicholas himself, the owner of Fears, pays full retail price for his own Fears watches. And I can vouch for that because I've seen the invoices. Now, as I said, I have paid full retail for this, and I am proud to say that because I absolutely love this watch, and it is my only Fears Brunswick personally, and it will probably stay that way because I feel like this is the best of the bunch for me personally. Now we've got those main initial points out of the way, I can also say I'm going to be very honest when it comes to my full in-depth review, and even some points in this unboxing and first impressions. Even though we are a stockist and I love Fears and I'm a big fan of Nicholas, and the police are here apparently, and I'm a big fan of Nicholas as well, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to say them how they are, as I would with any other video of mine, so don't worry, we're going to be honest as always. So, the Fears Brunswick Brown. The reason I jumped on this watch, one, I've wanted a Brunswick for a while. It was just deciding which one, and I was even contemplating the Fears Custom Division, which is where they can pretty much make whatever dial and handset you kind of want. So I was toying with that idea in my head. I hadn't officially said anything, but I was waiting to see what else was coming. And I'm glad I did, because this limited edition came out and there was 5 watches total. That's how many they made of the Brunswick Brown. So a very real limited edition. And I did tease on Instagram saying, guess what's coming? It's a real limited edition, and no one could guess it. And people were saying stuff like Amiga. In my opinion, 2,000 watches is not a limited edition. Whilst it is limited on paper, in terms of a real limited production, this is exactly that. 5 watches total. So to be in a club where only 4 other people have this watch is pretty spectacular, and definitely one of the things that drew me in. So for those of you who don't know who Fears are, I mean, where have you been hiding, for one, but two, go to their website, www.fearswatches.com, and at the top it says Heritage. Give that a read. It will give you everything you need to know, and we'll definitely go in a lot more depth in the in-depth review. But to put it in a nutshell, if you can even do that, they were established in 1846. So for those of you at quick math, that is 175 years this year, and they have some special things coming out for that. But established in 1846, which makes them UK's second oldest watch company, only beaten by one brand, which is incredible. That's an incredibly long history. Now, they ran throughout the whole sort of the whole of World War I, World War II. They even survived the Bristol Blitz because they were established in Bristol. But in 1976, they unfortunately went under, so they no longer existed. This was due to many factors, quartz crisis obviously being one of them. It affected a lot of brands at this period, a lot in the UK and the rest of the world. But then in 2016, the great-great-great-grandson, I apologise Nick if I got that wrong, of Edwin Fear, the original founder of Fears Watches, actually re-established the company. An ex-Rolex employee and someone who's been passionate about watches since a very young age, he found out about his family history with watches and decided, you know what, now's the time to start the company again, bring it back to life. And that was in 2016. Here we are in 2021. They have a thriving business. They have a wait list on one of their watches, the Fears Brunswick Salmon, which I get asked for all the time. And they are absolutely killing it, and there's stuff coming out in the future I'm excited for, as you should be. So if you're not following Fears as a brand, you should be. And Nicholas Bowman Scargill on Instagram as well, the owner of the company, because he's an incredible guy for one, but also he gives a little insight on behind the scenes of the company, which as a business owner myself is very entertaining to watch. So now that we've got that out of the way, and before we start having a closer look at the watch, for those of you eager out there, I will leave a timestamp to skip to when I actually start taking a closer look at the watch in the description if you don't want to hear me ramble. But we're going to move on to the box now, and the reason being, this is a very special and beautiful box. It is made of English ash and actually stained in the Fears blue colour, which is their traditional blue. As you can see, it's used in the packaging here, there and everywhere, but it has the Brunswick square engraved on the top, and I'll be putting some clips in for you guys and girls watching, and it's etched beautifully, absolutely incredibly. And Brunswick Square is actually a square in Bristol, as you probably guessed, which is where they had one of their headquarters. That is why this watch is called the Brunswick. It has this historical reference and importance throughout their watches and their models, which is super cool. And then inside, if we open it here, you can see there's a little magnetic, I mean, that just sounds nice, and it sits perfectly. So it has, rather than a 90-degree angle, and Nick, I again apologize if I'm butchering this, but I believe it's a 91 or 92 degrees angle at the back, which allows it to sit that little notch back so the lid doesn't fall forward. If you've ever had a watch box and it sits just about here, one sort of slight breeze of air can knock it forward. So it's quite interesting that he's chose that design feature, which makes complete sense. We'll move on to straps in a minute as well. But inside here, it's lined with genuine cream suede, which just feels very premium. The box in general feels very premium. It's very hard, very heavy. And then the outer box is also made in England, so the whole thing's made in England. Really, really interesting. It does come with a Brunswick booklet, which has a little bit about the history of the Brunswick and the specs of your watch, but also room for you to fill in any service history and everything like that. It also comes with your Fears Brunswick Brown paperwork and your number of 5. This is 2 of 5, I'll be very honest, because it's sticking with me. And then the Fears Owner Club. There is an owner club that you become part of, whether you own a watch, a brand new Fears, or a Fears from the 70s, or even a Fears pocket watch. You know, you can join the Fears Club, which is super cool. Inside the package is also a cleaning cloth, or a Selvet, whatever you'd like to call it, which has all of the Fears logos over the years on it, and it's just absolutely incredible. And on the back, nice and simple, with the Fears iconic pipette. So very nicely done, and sort of the perfect minimalist packaging without going too far. There's nothing worse than a ginormous box, and this is perfect, and it looks great as well, so you can happily display it, which I'm going to be doing at my home office. Now let's quickly talk about straps. So the watch comes with 3 straps. It comes with a original Buffalo Nubuck bund strap. As you can see, I've actually taken the bund part of it off to make it into just the Nubuck strap, because I think it's absolutely perfect for this watch. And they come in 2 size options as well. There's the regular length, which is what I have, and the shorter length. So my partner, she actually wants to wear this watch every now and again as well, so I made sure to get a shorter length strap as well. But the good thing is you've got that option throughout the whole range of straps that Fears offer, not just for this watch. So that's a really nice touch. And then the other 2 straps, it actually comes with a nylon NATO strap, a very interesting choice, especially for a watch so classic, which we'll talk about later, and a Belgium supple goat's leather brown strap as well, which again, really nice strap choice. I have this strap in the red, the blue, and a couple of other colours for other watches of mine as well. They're 20mm, so you can pair them on all sorts, including Cartier tank, which is what I often wear my Cartier tank on. I guess now that that is all said and done, we should probably move on to the watch, which is what you guys and girls are here to see in person. So let's go take a look at that. So on to the part you've all been waiting for, a closer look at the Fears Brunswick Brown, and there we go, we have got that light perfect right there. What a stunning watch. And this right here goes to show how dynamic this dial is. Right now, that dial on my screen at least looks pretty much black, and then all of a sudden it just comes to life and just transforms into a completely different watch. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you can imagine when you're out and about and you've got this on your wrist and you catch it just at that right angle, and it hits the light right there. That is exactly what I'm talking about. You go to look down at your wrist and you end up just enamored by the dial instead, and you don't even check what time it is. But with a watch like this, who cares what time it is, right? Really, really stunning. And the dial, whilst this is called the Brunswick Brown, and the dial is definitely brown, it's got more of an official name. Of course it would. I mean, Nicholas would only call it something like burnt ochre. I mean, I had never even heard of this before this watch, I'll be very honest, and it's now a colour I am in love with because this is stunning. It reminds me a lot of sort of, I don't know how to describe it, like the 80s sort of brown cars, which, to be honest, of that period weren't the most desirable, but there's something so charming about that colour. And when you put it in a watch like this, when you hear a Brunswick Brown, or the brown dial, you don't think it would look particularly nice, and then when you get it in person, you see what Nicholas or Fears have managed to achieve. You can see it has paid off tenfold. I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous. Now, it's inspired by a very early 1924 Fears watch, which was actually a sterling silver cushion case. So that is where the inspiration for the Brunswick came from, which actually predates Panerai, for those of you who know. And it is just a absolutely stunning design, beautifully curved all around, and the only flat surface, which isn't the case on this watch, but on the exhibition case backs, because they make this in a few different models, the only flat surface is actually the sapphire crystal case back. Now, on this model, as I said, this doesn't have it. As you can see, if anything, it has a far nicer case back, in my opinion, with the brown and the Fears 175 special logo for the 175th anniversary. So this won't be featured on any other watches past the 175th anniversary, and as you saw, it comes on the box as well. Now, that means there's not a single flat surface on this watch anywhere. Each single place you look has a curvature. Even that sapphire crystal, which continues the curvature of the case beautifully, as you can see from the way the lugs slope up all the way around aesthetically, and proportion wise it is perfect. Now, I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, not the largest of wrists, but this works beautifully well, and I've seen it on far larger wrists than what I have, and again, it looks beautiful. And even smaller wrists, my partner absolutely adores this watch and can't wait to steal it off me once I put it away in the watch box, which hasn't happened yet. It's stayed on my wrist every single day so far. Now, as we were on the subject of the dial, I guess we should stick to that, as that's the highlight of the show here, and finish talking about it. So to achieve this beautiful dial, it actually takes 59 production processes, which is just insane, and that's what gives you this multi-tone burnt ochre, as they call it. Really, really beautiful. You can see you've got 3 different finishes. You've got the finish around the outside, you've got the inner circle there, and you've even got the sub-seconds, which has beautiful concentric circles. Absolutely beautifully done. I do have to say, the second hand, and it's such a small thing, but it makes a big difference, the second hand on the sub-seconds there is perfectly lengthed to actually hit the outside, basically, of the sub-seconds. It makes a big difference when you notice that kind of thing, and you see on other watches the second hand short, or it's not quite there. This is perfectly proportioned. Now, the hands are their famous pipette hands. That's why the Fears pipette is something that they obviously hold strong. I mean, we have a cleaning cloth just off here, one I've used for probably over a year now. And you can see you've got it right there, but really beautifully done in the hands as well. And they have no loom, as you can see. It is something you can request to have done, but personally I like the fact they don't have any loom. There's no loom on the dial. This isn't a dive watch, you know, this is a beautiful sort of interpretation of what the modern man or woman would wear. You know, it's a dress piece, but it's also easily dressed down with a strap like this, and it can work well with t-shirt and jeans. And I personally wear t-shirt and jeans most often, and I think this works beautifully. And you put a suit on, I mean, this is just going to look absolutely incredible as well. This is going to be my dress watch, as well as probably a regular watch I wear most days. Now, as you can see, the numerals and the pleats on the dial, the dots and the hands, are a slight creamy colour. So to achieve this, they're actually originally brass and mirror polished, and then they literally paint a layer of cream enamel over them. That's how they do it to achieve it on the hands and the numerals on the dial, which have a great depth to them. I'm going to try and capture that as well so you can see that nice up close. I mean, this crystal just allows the light to play beautifully on the dial and those numerals, and you can see it even has pretty much a gold cap if you will, where the hands come up. Now, when we go to flip a watch round, you will see on the right hand side the crown. This is a very, very well executed onion crown. It's the perfect size for you to wind the watch. This is a manually wound watch, so it gives you all the ability to do that via there, and to change the time nice and easy as well. You can see that right there, and pushes in with confidence. And then we flip the watch around. All the straps are quick release as well. A nice easy touch to switch and swap as you go. And the case back, again, the engraving itself is in brown, the same burnt ochre as the dial, which I've never seen done. I've never seen a coloured engraving done like this before on any other watch. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's some down in the description, let me know. Sorry, in the comments. I look forward to seeing what they are. But this is actually the same colour as the dial. It's such a minor thing, but it makes a huge difference. Just to the attention to detail and the level of detail achieved here. And you can see 2 of 5 right there is my special number. It feels good to be part of such a niche little club. Now inside here is an ETA 7001 based on a old Pesa movement. Very, very reliable, very good manually wound movement. It does the job perfectly, and that has been one of the criticisms that some people have of the Brunswick range, the fact that it is, quote, just an ETA manually wound movement. To be honest, that isn't the focus of the watch. If your focus is on movement, this watch isn't for you, and the Brunswick isn't for you. You know, the Brunswick, what it is nailed is design and execution. That is what it has absolutely conquered, and the movement inside is a very reliable, very, very good movement, so you haven't got to worry about that. Plus it keeps the service cost down as well. Now, as I said, this is the strap I've been wearing it on. I haven't actually wore it on the other straps, only to shoot those videos for you that you probably saw, and I think this is the perfect strap choice. So let's show it here again on wrist, and I think it's going to be one of those watches I'm going to be in a honeymoon phase with for a very long time. Now, for those of you who know me, I am design driven when it comes to watches, which is why I've fallen so much in love with this watch. It has executed design beautifully, and it's absolutely stunning on wrist. The proportions are perfect for my wrist. It just feels comfortable. It feels like it was made for me. That's the truth right there. So I am going to absolutely love wearing this watch, and hopefully in a couple of weeks I will do a full in-depth review, maybe even a month. I'll give it a month on wrist and then come back and talk about it in more depth, go into the history of Fears and the Brunswick, talk about the different models available as well, because obviously you can't get this watch, it's sold out immediately, and sort of show some of the other alternatives you can get, because we have them in stock, which means I can show you in person. But there you go, guys and girls, that is the unboxing and first impressions. It is stunning. I really am not a fan of the bund strap, but the fact you can take the bund off and then you've got the best strap for the watch right there for you is perfect. I'm going to love this watch, and I'll see you all next time.